Good evening. Hello and welcome to this edition of the India Development Debate. I'm Nayantara Rai in New Delhi. This is the big development coming election season. The Supreme Court today pulled up the Congress President Rahul Gandhi for not rendering a complete apology in the affidavit submitted to the court, saying what is his business of regret in brackets. Apologize if you have wrongly attributed the Chowkidar Chor Hai jibe to the Chief Justice of India-led bench. Rahul Gandhi has been asked to fix his affidavit. This is one of the topics that we will be discussing today on the India Development Debate, which we will begin with our short interview with Senior Counsel Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who's a senior Congress leader as well, and defending Rahul Gandhi in the Supreme Court. Remember, this petition had been filed, a contempt petition had been filed by the BJP's Meenakshi Lekhi. Here's an edited excerpt of that interview.
There's a whole lot of mix-up in the reporting going on. Number one, Rahul Gandhi is nowhere in court and he has done nothing at the moment. I am his counsel. On the day one itself, it is we who filed our statement made on the relevant day. Number two, on day one, the statement pointed out, filed by us in court, not now, 10-15 days ago, pointed out the three errors. These three errors are admitted, written, quoted and extracted by us, not by the contempt petitioner separately, but by us in any case. Three. So therefore, there is no evasion, no avoidance. Four. We said that the only error in these three statements is a wrongful attribution to the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court accepted, stated or meant that Chowkidar Chor Hai is correct. In fact, we have added further that no court could give a finding on this because we need a JPC or a criminal court to look into it. Fifth, it is for that error of wrongful attribution that we regretted in our first affidavit itself. Now, these are the 5 points which happened on the first day. Now, you tell me, if I now possibly before the next date apologize for something I have already regretted, what is so great about it? Do I have an ego about it? Do I have embarrassment about it? Have I apologized or regretted a word of my political campaign for 2 years, which I repeated in the affidavit, in the self-same affidavit, that I am continuing, will continue, namely that this government is complicit. We will have a criminal and a JPC inquiry the moment we come into power, and that this entire team of the government is complicit in Rafale. So, all that we have done from day one and not today, which is why I have no problem, subject to my client's signature and affidavit, of saying apology for what I have already regretted. Now, what did the BJP want? They wanted my explanation to be rejected. They wanted me to be punished. They wanted me not to be heard. Did any of that happen yet? I can't help it if in this age and day of 24/7 media, everything which is said in the court is taken as a final decision of the court. There is an exchange between lawyers and judges. There is a frank exchange of views. But ultimately, what comes in the order alone is the order of the court. And you and I should read only that. At the moment, we have the order, and you will possibly have a final order on Monday. Neither I can be presumptuous about it, nor can Mr. BJP on the other side. So I think, as of now, there is nothing which has happened except a 24/7 reporting of exchanges which took place, allowing me to argue to explain why my affidavit is valid, allowing me to show why it was not read at all in large portions and was read selectively, and lastly allowing me to file a better affidavit subject to my client's signatures.
So, Dr. Singhvi, if I could come to my second question, the opposing counsel, Mukul Rohtkey, the former Attorney General, said that he has deliberately put words into the mouth of the Supreme Court for political gains in Amethi and Bihar. It is the grossest form of contempt. Today's hearing was followed by Meenakshi Lekhi of the BJP, who's contesting from Delhi in the Lok Sabha elections, saying she's not happy with the apology that has been tendered. She wants a better apology. What do you have to say to this with what Mukul Rohtkey has argued in Supreme Court and what the petitioner is continuing to demand, a better apology?
Fortunately, I am in the safe hands of a constitutional court and not in the hands of the lawyers whose names you are taking. Fortunately, adjudication today is not decided by arguments in court or what the press picks up as sentences. Has any of this argument been accepted yet by the court? And let me ask you, has Rahul Gandhi not already regretted what he said by admitting what he said? Would you rather that we did not accept it? Would you rather that we did not regret it? And today the matter is only fixed for Monday. So what is the issue? Just sensationalism by politicians distorting the words not in a written order of a court by politicians or brazen arguments by a counsel does not make it valid and true. I have made it very clear. Please tell me if I have already expressed regret and I owned up to my mistake purely only limited to attribution. Where have I compromised my stand on Rafale? Yes, I can't attribute to you that you have given a finding that Rafale is a scam. Yes, the Supreme Court has given no such finding. So I made a mistake. If there was no mistake, why would there be a contempt?
Well, there you go. That's an edited excerpt of our interview with Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi. Let me go across to China and see the spokesperson for the Bharatiya Janata Party as well as Sanjay Jha, the spokesperson for the Congress Party. Thanks to both of you for joining us this Tuesday on ET Now. Since we just heard Dr. Singhvi talk about Rahul Gandhi's stance as well as what transpired in court, I will go to the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson next. China, welcome to the show. You've heard what Abhishek Manu Singhvi's had to say. This is just a case of sensationalism from day one. The Congress has tendered an apology, has been humble enough to accept its errors. While the BJP never does any such thing, it doesn't have the apology in its own dictionary. I don't want to trivialize the debate, but doesn't he have a point there? Did he not apologize on day one? And this is Meenakshi Lekhi, who in election season is going guns blazing after Rahul Gandhi.
Well, you need to ask that question to the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court has clearly said that there is an affidavit which is contradictory. The apology that you so-called talked about is in brackets saying regret, and the CJI, that is the Chief Justice of India, rightfully so wants a full apology. And please remember that every time the opposition has used words to suggest Chowkidar Chor Hai or Chor Hai vis-a-vis a reference to context to the Supreme Court, you're doing a disservice to the office of the Prime Minister and that of the judiciary of this country. And I think that you need to understand that when the Supreme Court raises questions saying where is Rahul Gandhi and why is this not a complete apology and what is the meaning of regret in brackets, I think these are questions that the citizens are also asking. I mean, you have to understand, if there is a contradictory affidavit which is a testimony under oath, I think that needs to be explained, and Mr. Singhvi can go on with all his rhetoric, being a lawyer as he is, but I think there is a contradiction which starts off with an affidavit which is contradictory, then an apology which is inverted in brackets and which is not a full apology, and these being the core issues, the Supreme Court is absolutely entitled to say why have there been references to Chowkidar Chor Hai.
Sanjay Jha, you know, whichever way you look at it, your prime ministerial candidate says it was the heat of the moment during poll campaigning. He's finally had to apologize, and it's looking like a forced apology because the Chief Justice of India pretty much said, what do you mean by writing in bracket regret? What does that mean? If you've made a mistake, apologize. Doesn't that send out a wrong message to the public during election season that the Congress president can't even be humble enough to say, yes, I made a mistake, I should have apologized on day one? And also the fact that, he wrongly quoted something to the Chief Justice of India, which he's had to apologize for. Doesn't that show your leader in poor light?
Let me tell you one thing, Nayantara. If anybody has been misquoting, and has committed a contempt of court, it is the Bharatiya Janata Party and Narendra Modi. Why don't you check it out and ask the BJP spokesperson? I asked them on a lot of channels, they had no answers. Why did Narendra Modi and Arun Jaitley go and tell the people of India that the Supreme Court gave Narendra Modi a clean chit on the Rafale scam? Where in the Supreme Court observation has the Supreme Court ever said
hearing.
clean chit?
Sanjay, can we talk about today's hearing?
So,
Can we talk about today's hearing?
I'm answering you. Since we are talking of literal terms,
we got you today. We had you when that we had. Okay, all I'm trying to say, Sanjay, all I'm trying to say is that when that happened, we had both the BJP and the Congress debating that on that very day. Today, this is a new development. So, can I just first ask you, during election season, isn't this been a bad strategy from the Congress, from the lawyers, from the entire legal team of the Congress, which didn't apologize and literally a forced apology from the Supreme Court, forcing it out of the Congress president? Doesn't that show him in bad light?
And Nayantara, I don't want to repeat. You had an extensive conversation with Abhishek, so I don't want to repeat that all over again. Let me give you additional pointers. Number one, when Mr. Rahul Gandhi said Chowkidar Chor Hai, you can imagine the absurd interpretation or the guilty conscience of the BJP that they thought that he's saying that Chief Justice of India Ranjan Gogoi used the term Chowkidar Chor Hai on Narendra Modi. To my mind, that itself tells you how intellectually bankrupt the BJP is. However, they made it a legal point, hoping that they will try and corner Mr. Gandhi. Now, Mr. Gandhi gave an explanation, and I'm saying an additional point here. The Congress party has said this in its manifesto, for heaven's sake. We have said that we will do a criminal investigation against Narendra Modi, Anil Ambani on the Rafale scam. Now, if we are saying it in a manifesto, we are not going to go away because the Supreme Court says this has been attributed to us. Now, Mr. Gogoi's judgment is that Mr. Gandhi should be more unambiguous in saying it should not be a regret, it must be an apology, and Mr. Singhvi has added that. I believe that today in the speeches that Mr. Gandhi has made, he's repeated Chowkidar Chor Hai 12 times because we know that Rafale is a massive, mammoth swindling of the taxpayers' money to benefit a crony capitalist friend of Narendra Modi, that is Anil Ambani. Now, the point we are making is, if the Supreme Court says...
Shaina, if I could come to you. Shaina, if I could come to you. Sanjay, hold on. Shaina, if I could come to you. The fact is that there is a review petition. There have been certain deficiencies from the Government Council when it comes to Rafale, where the Government Council has also had to say that there have been some errors in the affidavit. So then, which is the other way to look at it, that these lawyers make all the mistakes all the time, whether it's a Government Council or the one representing Rahul Gandhi?
Nayantara ji, what was your question to Sanjay Jha and what is the reply? I think that says it all. Every debate they go around the bush and then they come to Rafale. I think they've forgotten what the Honorable Supreme Court said. I mean, they said there has been no commercial favoritism. So why are we harping on a non-issue? Let's please focus on the issue here. What is the Honorable Supreme Court saying? They're saying they do not accept this apology, which is in brackets. It has to be an unconditional apology and in toto. When it comes to Chowkidar Chor Hai, let Mr. Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party explain whether the reference to context is the Supreme Court, whether it is the Prime Minister, whether it's doing a disservice to both offices of the Prime Minister and the dignity of the Prime Minister and that of the independent judiciary called the Supreme Court, or whether he wants to just beat around the bush and say that there is an affidavit which is contradictory and whether that should be contested or not. And today we have another affidavit when it comes to the citizenship, which is also something that the Congress has chosen to stay mum on. All these are core issues, and why shouldn't they come out in the public domain, especially at the time of elections? And I would want to say that every time the opposition says Chowkidar Chor Hai, Pradhan Mantri Anpad Hai, Gawar Hai, Pradhan Mantri Chai Wala Hai, Pradhan Mantri Neech Aadmi Hai, the more the people of this country unite and consolidate their vote for Prime Minister Modi and for the Bharatiya Janata Party. So, if they really have good advisors, other than the ones who seem to be taking...
question is, Shaina, I'm going to come in there. Shaina, I'm going to come in there. I'm going to ask Sanjay Jha that, at least the Congress has been humble enough to say we eat humble pie, we made a mistake, we're going to correct it come Monday. While they also tell the BJP that apology is not in their dictionary. Having said that, it is a question of what next. How are you going to salvage this situation? I don't expect you to admit on national television that, yes, it's been a major bungling up of the case. But having said that, there has to be damage control, right? You have to certainly project your leader looking good, looking better, in better light. How is that going to be done?
Well, Nayantara, quickly, the BJP spokesperson, like her supreme leader, is such a brazen liar. On the citizenship bill, it has been rejected and thrown out by the Supreme Court in 2015. The Election Commission has rejected it itself. The LK Advani headed an ethics committee and rejected all these attacks on Mr. Gandhi's citizenship. The BJP knows they're losing this election. Can you imagine, after 3 election victories and 15 years in government as a political candidate, they are questioning him on his citizenship? It's such a joke. I pity the BJP. My sympathies with Shaina NC and of course with the gentleman called Narendra Modi. Now let me answer your question on Rafale. What is the truth? She will dodge it again. She is not telling the viewers that the Supreme Court has reopened the Rafale documents. The Supreme Court is re-looking at the review petition. Why? Because it is accepted that the documents given by the Hindu is corroborative evidence. What does it imply? That Narendra Modi is in the docks. It is that which led Mr. Gandhi, I didn't interrupt you, which is why Mr. Gandhi said that Chowkidar Chor Hai is a reality. It will be a reality. I can tell you, criminal investigation following. If Narendra Modi gets convicted, he will go to jail when a new government comes to power. We are not going to be at all dodgy on this. We are very serious. We will correct it. Anil Ambani is a beneficiary of a massive 30,000 crore plus deal. Now, to answer your question, I think Mr. Gandhi is walking tall. Here is a leader who says that the Supreme Court is not happy with my regret. I'm willing to look at an option of saying an apology. We will hear. I don't know what Abhishek will finally decide along with Mr. Gandhi. We will hear it on Monday. But the larger point is that the BJP is actually lied to the Supreme Court on the PSC report. It committed contempt of court by lying on an affidavit on the CAG report. All lies. They lied to the Supreme Court. They lied to the Supreme Court that the PMO was not interfering in the Rafale deal. If anybody has committed contempt of court, it is the BJP. Perhaps we should have taken them to court a little earlier. But now the public court will decide whether Chowkidar...
exactly what I asked Sanjay Jha. Shaina, I'm going to ask you exactly what I asked Sanjay Jha. He's saying that at least his leader has been humble enough to apologize. It's for the public perhaps to read the newspapers, follow the courtroom drama, hear all the interviews to decide whether that apology came on day one or whether it came after the Chief Justice of India said, why is regret in brackets. Now, having said that, we're not going to get into all of that. I want to ask you what I asked Sanjay Jha. I asked him, how is he going to salvage the situation? I'm going to now ask you, how is the BJP going to leverage this? Have you got a, are you going to take advantage of this? Because, the fact is, outside of television studios and outside of Twitter and maybe a bit on Facebook, on ground, do people really care about Rafale? Is it even an election plank? Because, it is all about farmers, it is about jobs. You say it's about national security. Congress says it's about Nyay. How can this even be leveraged?
So firstly, this election is about multiple issues. First, a stable government. Second, strong leadership. And third, progress as in a vision plan. Every time the Congress party goes on and on about Rafale, I'm just reminded of Smita Prakash's interview with the Dassault CEO, where he says that the offset clause was clearly their prerogative.